Hi everyone, this is Ricky with scrapbookpal.com, and today we're going to be using the stamp set by Concord and 9th called Brighter Days to make this amazing card that I'm going to make today. The first thing we're going to do is going to go ahead and take the rainbow out of the stamp set and put it into a MISTI, and we're going to be using some VersaMark sticky ink here so that we can heat emboss this onto some white paper. So I'm just going to stamp this over, and I stamp it over a few times just to make sure I get a good impression. The next thing we're going to do is just go ahead and pour over some white heat embossing or white embossing powder over this rainbow so that we can go ahead and get it heat embossed. Put it over a few times just to make sure that it's good and sticky and that there's enough on there. I go ahead and heat emboss this. You can't really see the rainbow on the cardstock right now because it's white and it matches the paper. The next thing we're going to do is cut this down to a square. It's 4 by 4. And we're going to do some ink blending. And the first thing I use is Fawn Lobster. Then I use Fawn Sunflower. Then I use Blue Jay. And then I use grape soda, I believe is the next one, or plum. You'd only really need 4 colors because the red and the yellow make the orange, the blue and the yellow make the green. So you have a rainbow without having all the rainbow colors, which is awesome. So here I'm going to slow this down for a second because I get a little crazy here and I should have left the card alone, but I couldn't. First, I'm going to just die cut some clouds out here. I'm going to put a cloud on each side of the rainbow, and that was perfectly fine. But then I noticed as I was looking at the card at the top right, it was a little brown, and I was getting a little worried about that. So I went in to put a little red on here, and not knowing that the red was touching the green. And here you can see that it's a little darker than I wanted to be. So then I go in to use Blue Jay, and I do not even put it on the right part of the card and basically ruin the card. So this is me touching my face like, oh my god, this card is damaged, but we're going to fix it. So basically I'm just going to cut this down to be smaller so that I can get rid of the dark part of the card. And so instead of going with 4 by 4, I believe I cut it down to about 3 3/4. Let's see here. It's pretty slow, so we can go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so that's about 3.5. And then I cut down the other side to be about a little bit about the same. So it looks like about 3 1/4 is what I end up cutting this down to. The next thing I'm going to do is make a mat for this card. And I'm just checking the size here to see exactly how much is what the measurement is. And then I'm just going to cut down this black cardstock to be a little bit bigger so that it could be a frame for this card. And then the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and get this glued down to the black mat. I'm going to use my favorite art glitter glue here that you can get at scrapbookpal.com. Seriously, I cannot talk about how much I love this glue. I probably will never ever use any other glue again, unless they stop making this, and then I'll have to hoard about 14 cases of it. But anyway, as we're going through to the next part of the card, I get that pressed down, and then we're going to place some clouds here. And then as you notice at the very top right, I still have a little bit of the dark mess up that I had. So I'm just going to cover that with another cloud because why not? There was no way else I could really hide it. I could have maybe hided it. Can I speak today? I could have hidden it with the sentiment, but I thought maybe just adding an additional cloud would be great. I'm basically going to pop this up with some foam adhesive so that it would be kind of 3D and have some texture onto the card because everything's pretty flat right now. So as you can see here, I'm removing the backing from the foam, and I'm going to go ahead and place that onto the card. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and prep this panel, so that it could go onto a card base. And I'm going to use some square foams here also. And then I'm going to place this on the card, make sure it's even. And I'm sorry, I obviously am too close to the table and you can't see everything, but I think you get the idea. But I'm going to go ahead and get this placed onto the cardstock, and to make sure it's even, has a really good frame. And the next thing we're going to do is the sentiment. It's going to be over the rainbow for you in this same sentiment set. And basically, I'm going to heat emboss this onto black cardstock with some white embossing powder. And this is a little bit off camera too. I'm very sorry about that. But I'm going to go ahead and get that stamped out. And then I'm going to cover it with a bunch of embossing powder here. And then we're going to go ahead and get that heat embossed. Now, recently someone said, oh, I love watching the heat embossing. So, I left a little bit longer in here. Not too long, but you get to see a little bit of it. A little bit of the magic that is heat embossing, right? So we're going to go ahead and get that heat embossed, and then we are going to try to discover where to exactly put this. But the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get this cut out. I'm using a sentiment die to cut this out. I could have used my trimmer or my scissors, but this is just easier. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled out. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down a little bit more. I could have left it longer, but I did not. I just cut that down to be really short. I used my own scissors to do this. I was a big boy. I did it. It was straight. It was perfect. It was fine. And then here I'm trying to decide exactly where I want this sentiment to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get this finished up. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you head over to scrapbookpal.com and look at all the great stuff they have for sale there. Also check them all out on social media and check out what they're posting. You could also check me out on social media by checking for Bromero cards, and I also have my own YouTube channel by just searching for Bromero cards. So this is the card. It's complete. I love this card. It's amazing. It's simple. And I hope you have a great week and make it a good one. Bye.